Guruji ka shukrana for giving this opportunity. And words don't do justice to what we see in his darbar. And I'm not the best person to describe that, but I'm sure there are people here who have experienced much more divinity than what I have. But I keep trying, and I would say the spiritual journey in this darbar has not been very smooth. I mean, there has been moments when I have a lot of faith, and there have been moments when, the faith is iffy. And it's not because of lack of his grace, it's more because of my ignorance, I feel. But, I'll just give, a brief overview of how it all started, and mainly talk about two instances or occurrences in our lives that sort of highlights, the divinity, the grace that he can shower upon his sangat. I wouldn't say my journey with Guruji started in 2014 at Guruji's birthday, but I would say that I was taken to his darbar at that time, and obviously it was his Bulawa, which we all know. And it was my mom who was visiting from India, and she had, many of her relatives, gotten the grace from Guruji, and she was very adamant that, you have to go, and I was like, I don't believe in humans being God, if you will, and I had no intention of going, but, she said, she insisted, so I said, okay, let's go. It felt nice, I would say. It was very disciplined. That was the highlight for me. And the meditation or the Shabads were good, but nothing out of the blue. I mean, I was like, it feels good, but what kept bothering me is, how do we call someone who came in human form as a god? So having said that, a few months passed by. I don't think I went to the temple for a month or so, but she kept insisting, my mom, that you should seriously give it a try, and try and sort of have faith in him, and then see what happens. And I mean, it's interesting, and I don't think I've shared this with anybody, and it's a little sort of comical as well. How my first sort of, I would say, an assurance that there is something there came into place. I mean, I was kind of an Xbox guy, so I was into a lot of games, and we moved in 2013. I set my Xbox in basement. I did the wrong thing. I put it on the carpet. It stopped working, and I didn't like it. So I sort of, I Googled it, I researched it, and basically found out that you shouldn't put that on carpet, gets heated up and all that kind of thing. And there were some sort of solutions to it. I spent like 10 hours on it, opened it up, tried to fix it, nothing happened. I was like, you know what, let me try this. Mom keeps saying there's something divine in Guruji, let me try this. And I said, Guruji, okay, if you're there, show me if this works. And I just, put the button on, and I get a weird sense of vibration, and it just stayed on. And I was like, turn it off, turn back on. And I was like, it doesn't go away, and it still keeps working. So I don't know what it was, but clearly he had, he's much more of a technologically advanced person than even Vineet Arya, I guess. So anyhow, I mean, that was one thing. I mean, it sort of, brought me to a point that I started going to temple. I continue to like it, the meditation, the Shabads, the peace of mind. But still, what kept bothering me, I'm a very scientifically oriented guy. I don't believe in, finding signs and looking for God. So I went through these phases when, I was having faith, and then I sort of didn't have faith. But then, there were few instances in the last few years that actually, point towards that there is much more than just, blind faith here. There is, real grace here. And, the first one I would say is last year, one of my close friends from medical school, he's an he's an eye surgeon in Jaipur. His wife is an OBGYN, very close to me. He had a very tough time getting a child, and he sort of, they tried for like 8 years, went through all the treatments, assisted reproduction and all that, and finally they got a son. And we visited them a couple of years ago, celebrated his birthday. Very cute child, and last year, one fine day, he just calls me, crying and saying that my son's diagnosed with some abdominal mass, and they're investigating, and I need to talk to Tina, and we need to figure this out, and it doesn't look good. And so obviously she's an oncologist, so she gets on the phone, tries to get all the reports, and ultimately, long story short, we figured out that it's some kind of cancer which has about a 40%, 50% survival, and it was just devastating. Just hearing that, and we again, very scientifically oriented. Prayed to Guruji with I won't say blind faith, but I would say just purity, that if you can help this little child and the family, that would be great. And I think we had satsang at our place as well, and I spoke to him that morning, and I said, I'll do live sort of thing for you. You also try and pray. He's not a believer in Guruji, or he was not, but he agreed. I mean, at that point of time, when your life is going away, you just want to get hold of any sort of boat that can take you to the shore. So we prayed hard, and again, long story short, it was a bumpy sort of 6 months, but got all the treatment at Bombay, at Tata Cancer Institute, and Tina helped, and they got everything that needed to be done from the medical side, but miraculously, I mean, he's doing great, and with no signs of recurrence so far. So again, I mean, this talks a lot about your grace, Guruji, and thank you for that. The other thing that I would mention to pertains to Tina, she started at NYU 8 years ago, 2008, as a fellow, and she's a very bright person. I mean, I don't stand a chance when it comes to how bright she is in terms of intelligence and research, and the amount of stuff she does in a selfless way for betterment of medical science. But what kept bothering me ever since I married her, actually, is that it's a good thing. She's very humble, but she doesn't take a stand for herself. So that's always my sort of thing with her, that you got to take a stand for yourself. You should, it's good to do great stuff, but it's also good to show people that you're doing the great stuff. So she, did great research, published, but never got the sort of accolades that she should have deserved in her job. One, because she started as a trainee and then she continued in that job. They respected her, but in terms of the level of escalation she should get in the professional field, she was a national figure, but in NYU, she didn't, get to that level where I thought she should have. So, a year ago, again, I kept bothering her. Like, I'm like, you gotta take a stand. You gotta meet, whoever you need to, tell them this is this what you've done. You need to highlight to them that, this is all BS, they're not giving you anything. And she's shared her satsang, but, from my stand, I think I could have reached a state where I think I shouldn't have. and she just felt helpless because that's the person she is. You can't change a person, right? And you can just try, but then sure enough, our Guruji steps in, and all of a sudden she gets an opportunity much nearer our home, with the opportunity to head a division, and with a salary jump which pediatric oncologists in general don't get paid that well. Cardiologists get paid double of what an oncologist gets. But the bottom line is that she supersedes me because he sees that I was actually not doing the right thing by forcing her to do stuff. And one fine day, she's leading a division. She's much well known in the field, and her research is going all the way, and she's a national figure. So I think, Jai Guruji, again, thank you for showing the right paths and showing the wrong paths too, blessings all over. The only thing that I pray for myself is to give me an opportunity to sort of develop a blind faith, and I want to develop a blind faith, because it's said that you can develop blind faith only if you have a simple mind. And I feel so jealous of the people who have a simple mind and can develop blind faith, because it's just a special feeling. Days when I can get that blind faith and get that going, it's just amazing. So just let your worries go, and just put it on his shoulder, and I think just enjoy life. Jai Guruji.
जब मैंने